Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the We Know Love Island podcast here on RHAP. You can find us on the RHAP YouTube, youtube.com/@RHAP. If you want to see our faces and comment on our thoughts, please do so. We are here talking about Love Island Games Season 2, episodes 9 and 10. And I'm, of course, Kirsten MacInnis, joined as always by the wonderful Brian Scally. Scally, how are you?
Hello, hello. I'm so good. I'm excited to talk about two very, very messy episodes of Love Island. Talk about two very game-filled episodes of Love Island games. So overall, very, very excited.
Yeah, messy in more ways than one, unfortunately. But you know what? That's fine. I do want to say just off the top, get rid of the baby bird challenge. What does this
Mm.
add? What did this add to the season?
Yeah. I remember when they made some comment about how they would walk it back, but no, we've been regressing as a franchise
And
sometimes.
a society, obviously.
Yep. So no, we're back to this, and it's unfortunate, but still, I like that there are competitions that are more equitable and just anybody could win, even if
Yeah,
it's not my favorite way to do it.
I feel like they could have gotten to the same result even with like the same mechanisms without having to spit in each other's mouths.
Yep.
But
Yep.
who am I to say? I don't work in reality TV production. Maybe this was the only way.
It feels like a universally hated challenge. So I
Yeah,
don't really know who this is for.
I've never seen a post of someone being like, "Yes, it's the baby bird challenge. I'm so happy."
And don't do it because Kirsten will kink shame you for that.
I listen, I might not kink shame, but I will absolutely kink ask why.
So yeah, that challenge obviously comes back. And otherwise, I feel like there's lots and lots of
Yes.
movement in the villa this week. There are new couples, there are new people, there are potentially some breakups. I am
Ooh.
invested in what we have going
Yeah,
on.
me too. There was a lot of drama in the relationships and in the game, which is a very fun balance. And, we might as well just jump into it.
I'm totally down. I feel like the villa's in pretty high spirits considering where things ended off last time. A lot of people were really
Mhm.
sad at Chris and KK leaving, but the vibes have kind of shifted. We can cheers to them, but also, celebrate what we still have. And person who was celebrating the most, I would say, would be Andrea on the sidelines for Johnny, and he noticed.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this last time. Andrea, like, hit the ground. She
Yes.
was so dramatic about it, and Johnny's like, "I love that you were so dramatic about me." Like, "Oh, it was nice to see her realize what it would be like without me." But he also is mentioning how bad she is at the challenges and what can he do to motivate her to be better.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think Johnny noticed like, okay, you know what? This is first of all the most excited I've seen Andrea get about anything. So that's a
Mhm.
positive. It's the most I've seen her jumping and moving around. So she can do that. She could do that during the challenges. The ability is there. She'll put her body on the line, diving on the ground, and
Yeah.
she feels passion. So those are all good signs, whether in the challenges or even, she is expressing emotion, which she is struggling to do elsewhere later in the week. So I think Johnny is seeing these all as good signs, at least.
Yes, but unfortunately, this all comes to a grinding halt when Johnny's saying, "You need to look at the other girls like they're your competition." And she goes, "Well, I can't do that."
No, she can't do that. Andrea, I know, came into this season saying she's not going to be, sleepy and she's going to be like this big personality. And I do think that she's done that successfully. Let's borrow it on the surface level, but I think she has kind of struggled to make it past that initial character. And I too feel like kind of hitting a standstill with Andrea.
Well, yeah, and it's hard to, right? Because obviously, to get on Love Island, you don't necessarily have to have the biggest personality compared to all the other reality well, not all the other reality shows, but like competition reality, of course, is always trying to cast the most attractive people possible, but you also have to have, something to back it up when you're getting in those other more character driven shows. I think in Love Island, you don't necessarily have to have the biggest personality to back up how hot you are. Like, you have to have something. You have to
Sure.
be able to, give a little in the confessionals and in the interviews and stuff. But I think the bar for that is not as high in Love Island as it is in some other shows. And Andrea, she's a lover girl. She came here for love. And she literally says that her game plan is that Johnny has the game plan and
Yep.
is like trying to say, "Oh, I'm not here for the money." And Johnny's just like, "Oh, better kiss her now."
It's a little frustrating when later in the episodes, Andrea's talking to the girls and she's like, honestly, I'll choose Johnny over any of you. Like, if he wants to target someone, I'm just going to do what he says because he's making all of the decisions. And even Justine is like trying to wake her up. Andrea, like, you're also playing the game. This is your game. This is your experience. Like, you should also have some say in this. But she is kind of, continuing to just coast.
Yeah. Andrea is a coaster.
Yeah,
I think we can
definitely.
confidently say that.
And although they stick around for a while in this stretch, but it's really in the next episode where Johnny is starting to see some concerns. He
Yes.
feels like Andrea doesn't really open up, and that's making the conversations hard. He's basically at an 80-20 to her, where he feels like he is giving everything, and she is kind of just like, hee hee, ha ha, ha, and that's it.
But also, do you believe him?
What do you
Like, the
think
thing
the other
is,
reason is?
I think that he's probably right that the conversations are not as like deep, but I don't think that that would bother Johnny that much if Andrea was good in the competitions. And so I think that he's like, she's not good in the challenges. She doesn't seem to care to want to be good in the challenges. So I'm going to use any excuse I have as a reason to pull away from this.
I mean, it's not as if there was a challenge in between when he's saying he's fine with it. And he even goes to the guys and says his opinion is that any girl in this villa could beat any other girl in this villa. It just depends on the day, like what the competition is. And so basically, he thinks so highly of himself. As long as he has a average girl, like whatever, he'll carry them to the end, is kind of seemingly Johnny's mindset, which take that
Johnny
for what
when
you
he
will.
lies.
So take that for what you will. But even though they do quite well in the only competition this week, he has had this change up. And so that's where she's agreeing she doesn't open up to people. He's giving that as the reason. I don't know. It does kind of make sense. He says to her, even in this conversation, like, if we're just chilling, that's fine. Like, I'm down to just like, we're going to do the competitions. We're going to just make out, like, whatever. But I don't want to pretend like this is getting deeper when it's not.
Yeah, and I think that everything he's saying is true, but I think he wouldn't even broach the topic if she was better at the
Maybe.
challenges.
Maybe. I don't know. I think
I mean, I
he's
don't know
matured.
Johnny personally.
He says he's matured.
And we got some comments on that last time that this is perhaps how he was speaking last time too, and then had not matured.
Look, I don't know that a man would do that. Come on, and say that they've grown as a person and then act the
You don't know that
same.
a man would do that?
I'm joking. Pick up
I
tones.
just come on. We've got to really make sure to spell it out. Come on.
Yes. No, I know. I'm teasing. Yeah, look, it's Johnny. I think that the moment he said to the boys that the conversations are draining and he doesn't find her stimulating, like, it's over. Can you imagine getting out of the villa and seeing that?
How bad do the conversations have to be that Johnny finds them draining and not mentally stimulating enough?
I
Because like
feel like
he's not exactly a genius.
I feel like Johnny's a pretty smart guy. I don't have
Like
any reason to think he's not.
he's not stupid or anything, but like I feel we've seen him to have a pretty high tolerance for like vapid conversation in the past.
Do you think Sally wasn't having like, deep philosophical
Right. Like
discussions in
and that's
general?
nothing, and that doesn't even mean that like Sally or his past
No,
partners aren't like smart or anything like
sure.
that. It just means that like we've seen him deal with not the most scintillating conversation with no complaints. So what were the conversations with Andrea like?
Yep. So this conversation's not like, this whole conversation is obviously continuing not to be so good. Andrea even acknowledges that and goes to the other girls and is like, this is my fault. I've been told this before. Have you noticed that I tell you nothing about my life? It's because that is just who I am. I don't want to get hurt. And so it feels like she's kind of willing to turn that around, but we'll see how that goes for her by the end of this week.
What an insane feedback to repeatedly get.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you just have to kind of change it at a certain point. And I mean, maybe that's what she's here to do, but I don't know. The moment she started opening up even slightly to someone the last season of Love Island, they got taken away by a vote real quick. She started opening to Tyreek here and he switched up on her really quickly. So I understand being cautious, but at the same time, like, there's 10 days left, maybe.
I think it's the whole thing where oftentimes people will make decisions in an attempt to avoid being cringe or like
Mhm.
are afraid of vulnerability because of judgments that can come when you are to
Your mic just went out. Your mic just went out for a second, but I don't disagree.
Yeah, and you can hear me now, right?
Yep.
Okay. To be cringe is to be free. And Andrea just hasn't accepted that yet or learned that
Yeah.
yet. And once, it takes time. How old is she anyways? I feel like she's young.
I could not give you an age on Andrea.
Well, that's okay. I can find it.
20s. I would have guessed
Yeah, she's
26.
24.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it
She's
will
a young
take
girl.
time. That's a lesson that takes a long time to learn, I feel.
Which couple would you like? Not even necessarily a long-lasting couple. Is there a couple that you'd like to talk about next?
I deeply need to talk about the Justine and Tyreek of it all.
There's so much to discuss here because we have
Yes.
Josh is involved again, Andrea's involved, Justine is involved, Tyreek is involved, and I feel like it is probably the messiest storyline of the week,
Yes.
starting out where it seems like Josh and Justine are on a good page. There's them talking, having this conversation about how, okay, yeah, you have, like, if you want to talk with Andrea, like, absolutely go do that, but at the same time, she's going to get targeted, whether it be to eliminate her or to steal her in the couplings. And I might not be as much. So do you want to stick with me? And Josh talks about how, like, yeah, he's into exploring with Andrea, but he's also into exploring with Justine romantically, which I wasn't sure was still the case. So I left this like initial conversation also like Justine thinking there's at least a 50-50 shot between either direction this could go.
Yeah, I agree. And Josh literally says like he likes where they're at with regards to a recoupling, and so that if things change, she'll be the first to know is kind of the vibe there. They also talk about like, can Tyreek be taken seriously? Does he care about the game? Like, he's kind of a wild card. Which
Yes.
at the same time, Tyreek is talking to Johnny about how Justine is giving him mixed signals,
I
which
don't think
I
that's
think is
entirely
not true.
unfair. I don't think it's entirely unfair. I think she's being very upfront with him and is saying, like, look, you seem fun and I enjoy talking to you, but I don't know if you could take it so seriously. I really like what I have with Josh. I have also been exploring with him. And so she's not like lying or being deceitful, but she is telling him like two different paths. Like they're both are still
Yeah.
possible, and so I can understand where he's like a little mixed up on what's actually going to happen.
Tyreek 3 days ago was like, I think it's totally fine for me to be in a couple with someone who's good at the challenges and then explore romantically outside of that couple.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the tables are like lightly turned on him, for him to have this response is not great, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Well, remember when people said, "Oh, you guys couldn't handle Ace. You're not ready for Tyreek." How do you feel now?
I mean, it's giving man-child.
It's a lot. We
Like,
will
I
get
don't
to the higher, or I was gonna say, the higher parts of the week. I would say the lower lows of the
Yes.
week with Tyreek. This is in the playbook. I'm not shocked at all.
See, like, it's not shocking. It's just annoying. Like, and it's not even that I'm like sitting here being like, oh, I hate Tyreek. He shouldn't be on the show. No, like, He's fine casting. He's fun. I just am, well, it's a wee bit hypocritical, and I will always point that out.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He says that he's interested in Justine, but that, look, if she goes the other way with Josh, he's gonna have to gun her down. Like, he is that Josh is his enemy in this game, apparently.
I do not like the verbiage "gun her down."
It's not my favorite.
I don't I don't think that's how he should have said it, but he's also not American. So
That is
I
true.
do
That is
feel like it
true.
comes from a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah, they're not allowed to have guns in the UK, which is what a dream. But
Well,
when Tyreek and
listen, it's
Justine,
still
when they actually do talk, it is clear that there is chemistry.
yeah,
I think that it's fun, it's flirty. I again point to Justine being able to have chemistry with about anybody. I think Tyreek himself is extremely flirty. So this is kind of like you put two flirty people in a room and like it's going to seem like chemistry whether or not this actually could work long term.
exactly 100%. And Justine's very much like, I know that we could be a great couple, but like we haven't talked about the game. Like you can tell she clearly wants someone who has a strong game plan for
Yep.
the games part of Love Island games. And Tyreek is really just sticking to the relationship focused discussion with her. And that's where the disconnect is happening.
Yeah, I think that it was good in this part where they do start talking a little bit about the game. I think the thing is that Tyreek, one, probably thinks that his, as he says, his strength is the social part of this. And if he can sell Justine on him socially, that's the best tool he has, rather than I'm the best competitor in this house. You want to pick me because I'm the strongest, because it's probably not the case. And so he feels like he needs to, whether consciously or subconsciously, sell her on we're a really good couple, I'm the best, like we should be romantically linked up, and then also like yeah, I'm here to compete. That's my read on it.
But I think if he actually just said that, it would do everything that Justine needs it to do,
Yes,
you know? Like
but Tyreek likes
it's
to
the
play games.
and he should mention the Love Island games in the games
Well,
he wants to play.
that's what I was going to say. When Tyreek says he's here for the games, it's not the challenges.
No, it's
It's
mind
the
games.
mind games.
It's literally
That's
mind
it.
games. In the midst of all of this, Josh and Andrea talk about how like they like each other. Andrea says she's not really feeling Toby anymore. She wants to get to know Josh more. And Josh is basically like, yeah, I'm in a good couple with Justine for the game, but I have a target on my back whether I'm with her or with you. And then they make out.
Yeah, it kind of just feels like Josh and Andrea are always going to come back together no matter what. And
Mm-hmm.
so, even while it seems like in a vacuum, if let's say Andrea had lost the duel and it was just Josh and Justine, I could have seen them actually at least exploring something for the duration of their stay in the villa. I don't know if I saw it necessarily going outside of here, but like a good, sweet little, summer camp romance. But watching him with Andrea, it feels like Josh just like leans in even more, and the way he talks and the way he like asks for the kiss here, like, we know.
Yeah, it's obvious. Extremely
Yep.
obvious.
Now, when it comes time for the recoupling, let's talk about this recoupling because I think it's so much fun the way that they do this. And I don't think we got like maximum chaos, but basically, in case anyone did not watch or does not remember, they're going to have a recoupling where everyone will write the name of the person that they want to couple up with on a whiteboard. If two people write each other, they're a match and they will recouple. But if it is an unrequited love, you will go to the singles bench. Now, when they do this, obviously it's going to happen to at least one couple or at least one pair of people. And that
Mm-hmm.
happens to Tyreek and Justine. Tyreek writes Justine, but Justine chooses Josh.
Yeah, I think that Josh maybe didn't get a chance to tell Justine about the kiss with Andrea and make
Yeah.
her the first to know, as he should have made her the first to know about that connection. And so, literally, like, they're the only two on the singles bench, and Tyreek is sitting as far away from Justine as possible and just so upset. All the other people just choose each other. So just so that everyone knows. So it's
Yes.
Kendall and Garby, Andrea and Johnny, Josh and Andrea, Sydney and Toby, Marvin and Nicola, Lucinda and Isaiah, and Justine and Tyreek get put into a couple at the end.
Yes, and there's a couple couples that I think probably weren't even a thing last time we talked. So we'll talk a little bit
Yes,
about how
we
those
will
came
get
to
through
be
them.
as we go. But obviously, Tyreek's not going to take this amazingly. He's pretty upset.
He says, "Oh, I can handle rejection, but I don't like being left in the dark." Like,
I don't
I
think
can't
Tyreek can
believe
handle
you.
rejection.
No.
Nope. And I think Justine has a good explanation for this. Like, if she had basically, she realizes, she not realizes, she rationalizes it as she was with Josh. So until basically he betrays that, she is going to prioritize that, be honest with him. And she never told Tyreek she was going to choose him or that she was leaning that way or anything. And so, Josh has broken that trust. Now, like, you're my priority. Are we going to do this? And Tyreek is not so sure he can be trusting Justine anymore.
He says, "No, the getting to know each other is on ice. No more kissing, no more cuddling, no more breakfast," because he doesn't know if he can trust her. And I'm like, dude, grow up.
And this is where we start to see the Tyreek that I feel like I know. Maybe this is it even worse than the Tyreek I know? But the Tyreek that I feel like some people know. And you told me to save Tyreek, and now look at what he's doing to Justine. But he
Listen, this is still plot. And like, Justine
yes,
is a big
I
girl. She can
teased
handle herself. That, like, this mental warfare is not going to impact her. So I
for
still
sure.
think it's fine.
For sure, for sure. Tyreek basically says that he thinks Justine is a machine with no feelings. And he tells Toby, if this was normal Love Island, I'd be kicking her to the curb. I'd be done with her. Yeah, which mileage may vary on if that's true. But like, he needs to talk a big game right now. And he says he could be mature and make up with her. Or he could just completely mindfuck her, make her think that everything is amazing, get into a lovey-dovey couple relationship again, and then as soon as a new person comes into the villa, kick her to the curb, get her out of the house. Karma is, not in your favor. Sorry, Justine. I don't. He says basically, I don't. I could be mature, but I don't like being mature.
Is this our friend Chappelle?
Whoa! I don't think so.
I think he's done some. I think he's gotten someone back to dump them before.
Wow. Wow. I don't know about that. I mean, it does really come to a head when we'll talk about whether or not he does actually try to take some action on there. He does walk it back with Justine. I think we see kind of starts putting the plans in motion. He didn't give her breakfast, but he is like, totally over it. We're good. Like, let's cuddle. You look so sexy walking around here. Like, Tyreek's turned it back on.
But also, like, Tyreek, don't be stupid. Okay, you think Justine's an unfeeling robot? Okay, she's an unfeeling robot who fucking wins Love Island. Do you want to win Love Island or do you not want to win Love Island?
No, Tyreek would rather stroke his ego and continue to be the character that he is on the show.
And I just think, personally, my ego would be stroked by winning
And I think that
$250,000.
his ego is also telling him, why not both? Like, okay, yeah, I can screw her over and I can get someone better because someone better is coming in, is his mindset.
Well, good luck, Tyreek.
Yeah, we'll see. I a little nervous for where this is going to go for them, but that is left where it is. I feel like otherwise, Josh and Andrea, not a whole lot more. Josh and Justine made up pretty quickly. She feels like he left her out in the cold, didn't really give her the heads up, but ultimately,
Yeah.
at least on the surface, they're going to be quote unquote allies.
And his like justification is that, oh, that recoupling was the most emotional I've been, and I didn't give you a heads up because I didn't know. And it's like, well, so which is it? You liked her so much you had to recouple with her, which you obviously would have known,
Yep.
or you didn't know. Come on.
Yep. Before we then go, because I think that obviously will also come back into play, let's do that all at once. I want to talk
Yes.
about Isaiah and Sydney. The exes finally have a chance to have a conversation.
We need to talk about, and it's funny, you've blocked out that this conversation was not important, but I just need to talk about how Isaiah says that he's like best friends with his dad now and they spend all this time together, which is obviously like very something to do with him personally that we don't know about that Sydney would know about. And she just goes, fire.
Yeah, that was really funny. He's, like me and my dad are getting along. That's so fire. So, it's
Um,
just us and he speaks.
yeah, and it seems like they haven't talked. They've both spent time maturing. They're literally like, she's like, it's your frontal lobe developing. Like literally that's what's happening.
I thought it
And
was it was really funny when Sydney's like, my whole life is different. I was like, how? And she's like, it's just like different. I'm just different now. And he's like, no, like tell me how it's different. And the first thing that Sydney says is, I've had like every hair color. Like, sure. I guess that's growth.
she has.
I do think there is a thing to maybe sometimes the number of, like, I think with some people it can correspond to the number of transformations they do with their hair, like the number of like either how hard they're going through it, how much they're changing in their life. And so that could be accurately reflected for Sydney, but it wasn't really giving him the answers he's looking
Yeah,
for at all.
well, I think that a lot of that conversation was like not in code, but just not being directly spelled out because
Sure.
it's like personal shit. And so I
Sure.
think that I don't know, because even like he's just like, you look so healthy. Like just like some of the
Ah,
wording just makes it seem like there's more going on that's obviously just not our business. But it seems like they are on good terms. They seem happy for each other now. So at the very least, they'll get a little bit of closure on their breakup, and good for
yeah.
them. I
I was
still have
happy to
like
see this.
I still have like a crumb of hope that they'll get back together.
I don't really think it's going to
I
happen.
I guess hope. Yeah, I don't think it will happen, but I kind of want it to.
Oh, you have the little bit of a wish.
Yeah, it's more of a wish.
Interesting. I think I like their new couplings, and I think I'm content to watch them play out. But I
Mhm.
was happy that we got this storyline. I feel like usually people expect when you bring in exes in the house, either they're going to recouple or they're going to have this big blowout. But I kind of like where we just get to see them check in on each other's lives. Like if
Yeah.
there's a big fight, I'm not going to turn away from that. But I like how, okay, these two people, we get to see them have this like not confrontation really being the right word, but like this, I guess, conversation of
Yeah, well,
like, yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna, and I think that like the tone of this conversation really just emphasizes to the fact that they probably will not get back together,
Yeah,
that the feelings are more gone. Like, I think that when exes have really fiery arguments, a lot of the time that's because things are not fully resolved, or maybe there are still feelings there. Whereas when you fully move past something, you can kind of see it in the rearview mirror for what it was and kind of, embrace the relationship for what it gave you and let go what didn't serve you and move forward with your life.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think that it's just interesting to like get this conversation of closure, but in a way that I don't think that we often get to see, especially if something like falls apart on a Love Island season. It's going to
Mhm.
be messy, and like that's great. I'm enjoying that, but I'm also down to see where this couple was at because we don't get them after the show. And if they're happy and successful, they don't come back to the show. And so when they do come back and we get like kind of the life update of them both here together, I know that, for Isaiah, we got like, here's what happened with Sydney. I cheated on her. It was bad. But now I feel like the story is more complete having seen them both talk.
Yes, I agree. Um, Sydney is starting to hit it off with Toby.
What do you think about Sydney and Toby?
Okay, it's cute. They're
I like
very
it.
cute together, I think. And I think that they're both also thinking strategically about the games part of this, which we'll obviously get into later. But I think they're a good match. They talk about, the duels. Sydney mentions that on their season of regular Love Island, she and Isaiah got second in almost every challenges. And so she feels like she can really do well in this so she can get her head in the game.
Which is really funny because she's like, yeah, we came in second. And Toby's like, well, that's not going to keep you safe here. Like, you need to be the power couple, which is ironic because second place this week literally got safety. Like, that was their reward.
Yes, but you know what? That's not always the case.
No.
And we did know that they had kissed at the Love Island Games premiere in 2023. And Toby says, when we kissed, there were sparks, but I never followed up. And they kiss again. And he's like, wear the burning lip balm next time, which is like lip plumper for anyone who's not in the know. Burns like a mother.
Yeah, he's really into it. He like brings it up every time they talk, every time they kiss. He's like, yeah, can we do that again? Like, Toby, you could just wear it if you like it.
It's not a pleasant scent, like, because the thing is like it kind of burns so that your lips like react so that they then get bigger, like swollen.
Maybe he's getting like such a low concentration because it's been on her like lips all day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't often go for a lip plumper, but when I do, I feel like the effect, like it like stops working. And so then I'm like, well, would it even still give stinging or burning if I don't know. I'll have to experiment with that, and I'll report back.
I'm not sure, but I think they're a cute couple. I like how this is kind of following up on, as we said, the previous kiss that they had, where Toby said like they had sparks, but what was he going to follow up on it when she's in the US, he's in the UK? Like, they kissed once. Like, that was never really going to happen. Toby probably went on 3 Love Island seasons since then. Sydney, similarly. So I like that we're now getting kind of, first of all, clued in on the secret of their one night romance from last year or 2 years ago, and then now also kind of getting the follow-ups. I think this is also a sneaky good athletic couple. Like, Toby's was a professional football player, I believe.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I mean,
Sydney pretty strong too.
Yeah, she seems to be. So I do think that they could be a sneaky strong couple. And it seems like because they both kind of came in a little bit late, they're kind of removed from some of the infighting that's been happening, which could protect them a little bit as well. But other than that, we don't really get that much of Sydney and Toby. Isaiah and Lucinda are hitting it off. Lucinda asks about Sydney, and Isaiah says, no, that door is closed. Like, they really just talk about how he and Sydney are in good places, but they're not exploring it. And Isaiah's like, wow, Lucinda's looking at me tonight. Normally she just looks off into the distance. And I'm like,
He calls
the
her out.
bar is in hell. What do you mean?
No.
Oh, she's looking at me.
I thought it was cute. I thought it, because he doesn't say it to us. He says it to Lucinda. He's like, you're making eye contact with me. And I don't know if that's like, is Lucinda a nervous person? Like, he's like, you're always staring off into kind of the distance. Like, whatever the case is, she's like really looking at him. And whether it's just she's looking at him at all, or she's looking at him, if you know what I mean, like, those are different looks. And for Lucinda, Mert has been here until now. Isaiah has been an option, and even when she was like with Mert and frustrated with Mert, she'd be like, I think I'm gonna start talking to Isaiah, and that just never happened. So now we're finally getting to see what would that have looked like, and I feel like sparks are flying.
Yeah, and I don't hate it either.
I don't either. I wasn't the biggest Zay fan on season 4 of Love Island, but him talking about how much he's matured, I kind of see it. I'm not mad.
I mean, 21 to 24 is a lot of maturing.
Yes.
So I'm not surprised by that. He took out his dangly earring.
You mentioned every episode.
The earring was so offensive to me.
It like moved out of style, mostly.
Yes, and thank God, because I hate that look. I've always hated that look.
Yeah. I don't know if I loved when they made out. 2 things. The bottom of Isaiah's eyes stay open when they make out, and I don't like it. 2, he says that he's been wanting to chat with her and ... taste her, which I was like, that's a lot for me personally right now.
I didn't care for those things, and I would have chosen not to address them at all. But you know what? Scally is a journalist, and he wanted to make sure that we knew.
I need to be objective with the facts, and those are them. But I think they're in a really good position, similar to Toby and Sydney, where I feel
Yes.
like they're decent competitors. Lucinda, we'll see, but also like not really on anyone's radar.
Yes, and I really like, and this is why I voted for Isaiah to be safe,
Ooh,
because I think that Isaiah, Lucinda and Toby are obviously working together. Sydney's kind of working with the Brits. And so then you bring Isaiah, like that's a fun dynamic of Sydney and Isaiah as like alliance partners. And so I would like
sure.
that to continue.
I don't disagree. I think that could be super fun. I think though we need to talk about the challenge, unfortunately.
Well, it was the Baby Bird Challenge. And I have to admit, I watched it on approximately 7 times speed. Because I did not normally I watch it but like through my fingers, and I was
Mhm.
just in such a foul mood on Thursday evening that I was like, I can't do it and I will not do it.
Definitely a challenge that is better viewed with your ears than
Mhm.
with your eyes. I really was just listening to people's complaints more than the quote chum that they're spitting into each other's
Yeah, and
bowls.
like what
What?
was this? It looked
I
like
don't
some
want to
sort of
know.
creamy soup of some kind. It looked disgusting.
Yeah, we heard a lot of extremely vile descriptors for what this tasted like, what it felt like, what it seemed like. So I would like to move past that, but
Mhm.
regardless, like I said, it was where you got to put them into other people's bowls. The couple that had the least chum in their bowls by the end of the 2 rounds was the power couple, and the couples that had the most would be vulnerable. And everyone here wants to target Josh and Andrea.
And good for them, as they should. That's a very strong couple. The main drama that comes from this competition is that Lucinda feels that Garby was targeting her specifically and strategically, and she thought they were friends.
Oh boy.
While Garby is saying, I was literally just spitting into whatever bowl was in front of me because it was so foul to have that chum in my mouth. So
Yep.
I was not paying attention.
Yeah, Lucinda and Isaiah had it tough where some of their good friends were spitting in their bowls and they got a little upset about it. I think probably tough when you claim to be friends with everyone in the villa. It wasn't that everyone was
Mhm.
just going to hand you the win, like it was going to happen at some point. So even Isaiah is annoyed with Josh, who I think makes the questionable strategic decision where he says that since everyone is targeting him, he's going to target the other vulnerable players even if they're his friends. I'm like, you were just talking about how you hope Isaiah's on your side. I wouldn't try to isolate him in this way.
Um, so wait, I'm sorry, you're telling me that Josh is not a strategic mastermind?
It does not seem like it's the
Oh my
case because
god.
even when Isaiah expresses his frustration, Josh is like, I didn't start it, but I finished it. I was like, did you, first of all? Because you also lost the challenge this week.
Yeah,
And
you didn't win.
you just made everyone want to come for you even more, question mark. So I don't really love the uh strategic decisions made by Josh here, but yeah,
I
as you said, Kendall and Garby gonna be the next couple that are having some big issues stemming from this challenge specifically.
Yes, and just before we jump to them, I just want to
Okay.
cue up when Josh is mad, his behavior is so annoying. Like
Yep.
is like a toddler when he
Yep.
gets mad. We've seen it many times, like from the premiere of the season, his reactions are giving immature.
I don't disagree. Yeah, Josh is fine in moments and then not my favorite in others, and that just is what it is. I don't strongly dislike him, I would say, but yeah, not my favorite person. So
Yeah.
here's the problem that happens during this, as you flagged up. Lucinda is upset because Garby, one of her friends in here, has been targeting her during the challenge, and from her point of view, this was very purposeful, very targeted, and it was malicious.
It was malicious spitting in her bowl.
Yes.
You can tell by, you know, someone's posture when they're spitting if it's malicious or not, obviously. And Lucinda's literally like, Garby's nice girl thing is fake and an act. Like, it got honestly kind of ugly the way she's talking about Garby.
I don't totally disagree by any means. Her point was she kept seeing Garby take the like lazy Susan that all the bowls were on and spin it exactly to her bowl. Now, Garby's like, I was spinning it like away from mine or kind of just like getting lost in where everyone else was pulling it and just spit in the next bowl in front of me. But that's not yet really communicated directly from Garby to Lucinda yet. And while that is the case, Lucinda is not thrilled going directly to Kendall, basically saying, I'm not sure this is the girl for you. I think you need to like keep your guard up because there are red flags here.
Yeah, and in this conversation, Kendall's like, there's no chance it was malicious. Like, she said there was no malicious intent. Like, it's fine. And Lucinda's like, well, obviously she would say that. Like,
which I think fine, fair. I could see a world in which like, oh, obviously the person's gonna lie because it's a game and because whatever. But Garby, like, I don't know.
yeah, but I mean, we also get Garby talking to Andrea right away, being like, oh man, I feel bad. I need to apologize. Like, I really like Kendall. This is not going well.
Yeah, she's talking about how like I really like Kendall. I could see this going somewhere. I came here for the game, and I'm finding myself distracted by like what could be after this all of a sudden. But what do you think about Kendall and Garby's conversation following this?
Okay. At the start, I was like, okay, fair. They need to talk about it. Conversation needs to happen. And Kendall's like, well, Lucinda said you did it on purpose. And when Garby's like, why would I do that? And Kendall's basically like, well, because I'm close friends with her and like, are you jealous? Doesn't say jealous. Garby says jealous first, but it's like heavily implying like, oh, you're jealous of my friendship with Lucinda.
She's like, are you saying I'm jealous of you guys? He's like, no, not jealous, but like, it's like, then what? If not jealous, then what?
Period. And Garby's like, well, you know, you can believe who you want to believe. Like, I've already told you that it wasn't malicious and it wasn't on purpose. So you have to decide who you believe. Kendall's like, oh, I'm in such a tough spot. And Garby, like, several times is talking about how she doesn't want to talk about this anymore. She already feels bad about this. She's over this. Like, this is not good. And Kendall's kind of like badgering her a little bit about like, well, why did you do it? And you did it on blah, blah, blah. And so ultimately Garby walks away, which I think is a completely valid thing to do. Sometimes in an argument, the best thing you can do is just walk away for a little bit and get some peace and get some distance. And then you can come back and have a more productive conversation, because this was not productive at all.
Yeah, what do you think about the tough spot that Kendall finds himself in, where his best friend in the villa is saying one thing, but the girl he's in a couple with is saying another about her intent? What do you think? Who should he side with?
It's so interesting that you would ask this, because obviously there's so much complication. No, do you like Garby? You have to side with your girl. What do you mean? Do you even like her?
It feels like they were like the one couple who really solidified things pretty quickly, at least more so than the others, where I felt like in my mind they had kind of reached the stage of where you would default believe the person that you're seeing, and then like, okay, low key on the side, like, I've stood up for you, but like, was there something? But or you, and then like on top of that, also the question is of someone's intent. And if you trust both equally and the person is telling you about their intent, well, then they're the only person who knows that for a fact. And you got to talk to the other person and be like, I don't know if there was some misunderstanding. Like, I totally understand why you're upset. She understands. She wants to apologize. But like, she swears this and I'm going to believe that.
Yeah. Like, why are you interrogating her?
Yep. It was wild.
It's very odd. Kendall pissed me off with that.
I will
I must
say,
say.
as a Kendall boy, Kendall pissed me off a lot too. Oh my god, I was so mad at Kendall. I was like, Kendall, shut up. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
It
Yeah,
just
no, I've
wouldn't
been very
stop. Like, it
pissed.
felt like it went on forever. And I was like, dude, shut up.
Especially because as soon as Garby and Lucinda do talk, Garby's like, I'm so sorry. I feel like shit. People now think I'm this bad friend, and I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to be upset with me. I don't want people to think differently of my personality. And Lucinda's like, totally, I get it. Like, sounds great, Garby. Love you, girl. And it's like, if Kendall had waited 15 minutes, this could have been sorted, or literally just been like, Garby, go talk to Lucinda and then we'll figure it out. Like, you could have stayed completely out of this.
And he should have, like, that. This is the problem with messy people, is they get involved in things they should not get involved in, and they do make it worse
Yeah.
100% of the time.
And that's unfortunate because now what I once thought was the strongest couple in the villa, and I was ignoring the very large distance that would be between them once they were out of the villa, considering Kendall on Beyond the Villa didn't want to drive an hour for a mini golf date and would have a transatlantic flight for this relationship. Yeah, I'm starting to question the viability of this coupling.
Oh, you're starting to question them.
Just like now,
But
just starting.
the thing is, though, is like when it comes to Love Island games and these shows where they bring people from every corner of the globe, you can't buy into the longevity of the relationship.
Let
You have
me.
to just like it for what it is in this moment. I still really like Kendall and Garby together, as long as he can like have a they're obviously going to have like a proper deeper conversation about this.
I was just getting
I think they'll
excited
be
for, I
okay.
don't know, Kendall to move to the Netherlands to be with Garby. We thought it would be great, but no, even Garby's like, okay, Kendall's talking about quote unquote beige flags, red flags. Like now Garby's has to be on guard because Kendall didn't support her at all.
Yeah, and Kendall's upset about Garby walking away. He's like, I hate that. I hate when people walk away. Like, that's my biggest pet peeve. And it's like, dude, grow up. And he
I
does bring it up to her that this is his issue. And Garby's like, I gave you so many signals that the conversation was not going well and that I was having a hard time, and you just kept going. And I would hope that in real life you would not pile on me like that.
Kendall doesn't really get the message. It's
No.
very much just, okay, well, I think we both had things that we're at fault for. And even if you do feel like that, I think you need to first take ownership of what you did and apologize. And then if you then want to raise an issue with something, you can have that conversation separately. But by saying, I think we both took issues and we should just move on, makes it feel like you are dismissing the issue and choosing not to talk about it rather than actually take that in and solve it.
Exactly. And well, in that it's like kind of the same vibe as when Lucinda and Garby talked. Like Garby didn't even get the chance to say, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
because Lucinda literally was like, and it's fine. We're all good. Thanks. Love hearing it from you. This is great. And it's like, y'all, you're adults.
I will say I
What's
think Lucinda
happening
did a
here?
better job than Kendall, but that's an extremely low bar.
Yes, absolutely did a better job than Kendall. Could have let Garby finish her thought and then said, I accept your apology. We're good.
Yeah, it could have happened. It could have happened.
But it was still much better.
For sure, much better. We do also have one other coupling from this time. That's Marvin and Nicola. I would say it's a cute friendship couple. That's about
Yeah,
it.
it's a cute friendship couple. We don't really get scenes from them that much. Just kind of talking about how, Nicola wants to make a real connection.
I did think there was one cute scene where Nicola's talking about how, it was nice being with Isaiah because she thought he was a good competitor, but she's actually a much better competitor than him. And so he couldn't really keep up with her. And I thought that was so funny. Just, okay, he was a nice boy, but I outclass him. Like,
I
oh,
love
okay,
her.
Nicola.
I love her. I think she's so fun.
She's super fun. I thought their conversation was cute, where I think Marvin maybe overestimates his ability a little bit, where he's like, I would have beat Johnny, I would have beat Chris, I would have beat every single man in the villa. Like, okay, Marvin, sure. But
I mean, he won 2 shows back to back.
was,
Neither of them
you
were
know,
competition shows,
I was
but
gonna say I don't think that those were exactly direct translation to this, but
well, no, but I could see why that would give him confidence and that he would do well in
sure.
any show he's done.
I think it might be misguided.
Yes,
But it's particularly in,
absolutely.
let's say Chris or Johnny in yesterday's competition versus Marvin. I think he would stand a better chance than many other of the men in the villa. But I was not like, oh, no question, bet on Marvin, done, as he seems to be. Is funny how Nicola's like, sports? Never played any of those, but apparently I'm really good at all this stuff.
She's like, wow, I should have been a pro athlete,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
One thing also that is really blowing my mind about Marvin, which like it makes sense. Marvin has been kind of in this influencer world on shows around a lot more Americans than he would have been prior, since he was on Love Island France and then Too Hot to Handle. But his accent is it's so minimized compared to how it was like the
Yep.
first time I saw him that I keep forgetting that I already know him because he
Yep.
sounds so different.
It is definitely very different.
Yeah. Which
The
again
only
makes sense.
For sure. The only other thing that I have before the big moment at the end of the episode is there are a series of conversations in episode 9 where we're really getting a lot of strategy here, and not just between the
Yes.
couples, but between some of the men of the villa, some of the women of the villa, talking about how there are alliances here now. And as much as Lucinda says, ew, alliances are cringe and I can't believe that people are doing them, a lot of people are partaking.
Yes, it really does seem like everybody is in on the games and wants to perform well, and they are recognizing after, 30 years of competition reality existing that alliances are the way to succeed in a game like this, and they are partaking.
Yeah, and I think that we had kind of assumed there was like a US alliance because it's the majority, it's really
Mhm.
easy, it's simple. And I think that is the idea in some people's heads, like Josh and Kendall, who are really hoping that Isaiah will be with him. Oh, he did just betray Chris, but never mind that. We're hoping he's with us anyway. Uh, and then versus some people who are not necessarily going in that way. Obviously, Tyreek and Toby are closely aligned, and that's flagged up, but seems like Johnny and Tyreek also working very closely together.
I mean, the Johnny, Toby, Tyreek alliance is like what an unholy trinity of fuckboys.
Look, I don't think all parts are equal, but I think it's extremely interesting. There's even Isaiah who's kind of floating in between. And I think this is a
Mhm.
really interesting breakdown of the house where they're trying to figure out. Obviously, Josh and Kendall are on one side, Johnny and Tyreek are on the other. Feels like Toby and Isaiah more firmly with Johnny and Tyreek, but kind of in the middle ish to some extent. And there is competing interest within the alliance where like
Yes.
Johnny thinks Josh is basically a meat shield, doesn't use the word, but says like Josh is a big competitor who people are going to target. And so him being in the house is not bad for me. Whereas for Tyreek and Toby, it's really bad. They don't want to go up against him. So I'll let them target him. But I, Johnny, am going to target Kendall, who is like kind of extraneous, keeps Josh in, but it's a number for Josh. So I'm weakening him by taking out a number. So I think this was all really interesting for what
Mhm.
I'm used to on Love Island games.
And it seems like Johnny has really picked up a lot about strategy from his first time on Love Island games and his time on the actual challenge.
Yep. Yeah, lots of people here from the challenge, from many other very competitive shows. So
Mhm.
I thought this was super fun to get into, and
Yes.
obviously does play out during the challenge, etc. Now, can we talk about the big moment at the end of
We have to.
the tonight's episode?
We literally have to. So there are two giant presents in the backyard, which we will learn contain two bombshells. And
Ooh.
it's Ariana comes in and the voiceover is actually pretty funny because Ian's like, I forgot to put holes in those boxes, so we really don't have time for this.
Which is even funnier because when they're like, "Oh, there are bombshells in the boxes," Lucinda's like, "Are they okay?"
Yes.
Like,
I laughed so hard when Lucinda said, "Are they okay?"
which I was thinking, like, I wonder how hot it is in there. Like, I would be sweating a storm in those boxes.
Yeah, in Fiji? Like, what's the
Hmm.
temperature in Fiji at night right now?
Yeah. God. So definitely, I like how you say we learned there were bombshells as if there literally could have been anything else in those
I
giant
mean,
people-sized boxes.
that's the thing. They do a lot of crazy things on Love Island Games. There
It's
could have
true.
been something else. There could have been like a challenge in there that needed to be like a puzzle or something. I don't know.
There's a world, I guess, in which it's like, ooh, if you want the box to like leave your couple, like step up and not saying what's in the box, and then it's like tickets home or something. Like that would have
Oh
been
my
crazy.
god.
Look, they could have been a giant one-way ticket home. So you never know, I guess, but it felt pretty obvious, like from the size of the box. And the Islanders don't know who's in the boxes, but we do. And in the boxes are Casey and Gabby from Love Island UK, multi-time appearances from both of these two, and the most recent winners of Love Island UK All Stars.
Yes, they won together. So they are exes.
Yes. Now, these two, for anyone who's not familiar, very involved in the franchise. Gabby does Love Island, does the challenge, does Love Island All Stars, is there from the beginning. Casey, God, I don't know how many times Casey's been on Love Island UK at this point, but also known for hooking up with quite a few Love Island contestants, maybe even outside of the show. So that gives you a good idea of who they are. They end up coupling up on All Stars, making it to the end. They win the show. I think expectations are not super high at the time that they're going to be a long lasting couple coming out of that. And that proves to be true. They do break up. And so that's why, when they say the exes are here, Casey and Gabby, two good competitors back in the house.
Yes, and I've just confirmed Casey was on UK season 9, All Stars 1 and All Stars 2.
Yes. Yeah. So, these are some Love Island vets.
And that's the type of bombshell you have to bring in Love Island Games is
100%.
we want these All Stars. I did actually on my TikTok today, I got the clip of Love Island Games season 1, the recoupling where Johnny chooses Courtney and leaves Jess, and Jess like reads him for filth. And I was like, where's Jessica? Bring her back.
She is, I believe, on After Sun, appearing
But
quite
I want
often.
her in the villa.
Yeah,
Bring
I
her back
could
in the
see it.
villa.
Maybe Love Island Games 3. I feel like there was the cast of Love Island Games that leaked preseason, and it was good, but this cast is clearing. Like, this is a
Yeah,
really good cast.
absolutely. This cast is so good. And so Ariana lets everyone know that America will vote for their favorite girl and their favorite boy out of everyone. And they have the option to remove themselves from the vote. So, first of all, Sydney and Toby are a power couple and they are safe
Mhm.
from the vote. And Andrea and Johnny were second place and they are also safe from the vote. So each Islander got a slip that basically says open the package or return to sender. And you can choose if you want to open the package or not open the package. And so if you're in a couple, you trust America, you put return to sender and you'll stay with your couple and you'll be eligible for the vote. If you choose to open the package and the bombshell within chooses you to couple with, you will be safe from the vote with the bombshell.
Ooh.
And the safe couples also can choose if they want to stay with their partner and be safe or potentially couple up with the bombshell. And if your partner does that, you then would be up for the vote.
Really convoluted, so confusing, so many rules, but great drama. I think I expected at least one or two more people to be going for the chance at safety, but what ends up happening is this is pretty down the line as you would expect for the couples that stay together. We got Andrea and Josh. No, we're so happy together. If America sends us home, like that's what it's supposed to be. Lucinda and Isaiah, they're a new couple, but they're going to stay together. Garby and Kendall, despite their arguments, they're going to stay together. Whereas someone like Nicola and Marvin, that's a friendship couple. They're both going to open the package. It's really only Justine and Tyreek that is the big shock of the vulnerable couples.
Yes, Justine chose to return to sender, but Tyreek chose to open the package to get his revenge on Justine
He
for
he saw his opportunity. I feel like if this was Tyreek being as diabolical as possible, I feel like you stay with Justine longer to make it even worse. And so I was almost wondering if he would like, oh no, let me really build this up before I like take out my knife to stab her in the back. But no, he chose to do it at this move, and Justine is not happy.
No, she's not. And here's the thing. If Tyreek had waited, he might have found more success. I think there's a good chance Tyreek is in some trouble. I don't think he'll go home, but I think he'll be in trouble.
Well, I definitely don't think he'll go home because of an additional twist in the episode.
Yes.
But I do think that he could have potentially found himself in trouble. And I understand why Justine would be frustrated. But at the same time, whether he chooses to stand up or not, she's going to be eligible for the vote.
Yes.
So it doesn't really screw her over all that much. It's not as if he's leaving her out to dry and all of a sudden she's now up for the vote. Like, it was not the biggest revenge ever.
Yes. The biggest revenge was Johnny choosing to open the package, leaving Andrea vulnerable to the vote, which she was safe from for the first time ever, I think, in her Love Island career. She was safe from a vote, and Johnny said, "Nope, you will be in danger."
Yep. No, we're not breaking tradition, Andrea. Like, we are putting you back up for that vote if I have anything to say about it. And this was brutal. Like, I understand that he wasn't happy in the couple, but there will be other opportunities. We don't know who's in that box. He's really taking a complete shot in the dark. And
Yeah.
it's a good one because it ends up working out for him. Gabby does choose him, and Gabby is an extremely physical competitor. But
Mhm.
poor Andrea.
I mean, I I think that Andrea might not be cut out for Love Island games,
No.
unfortunately. So if she were to go, I think that this would be a good spot for her, honestly. Um, but Johnny and Gabby is a very intimidating couple. They are going to be fighting to stay in.
Yes, and that's I think what Kendall says immediately is like, oh, if they like end up coupling up, pencil them in for the win. Like it's done. Like this is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where the ultimate twist came in, which I literally was like
You're good.
so geeked on this twist and I forgot about it, even though I watched it literally 2 hours ago. So Ariana announces that the power couple has not yet used their power. And so the power couple, each member will save one islander from America's vote. So Toby will choose a woman and Sydney will choose a man. And Toby chooses to save Lucinda. It was pretty immediately obvious when he says, I'm
Yes.
saving someone I've known for years and is a
Knew
dear
it before he
friend.
said a single word.
Um, well, yes, but he did not
Sure.
even try to obscure.
For sure.
And then Sydney agonizes over this a bit. You can see she's crying. You can see the tear marks down her face. And she says that she is saving Tyreek because it builds a stronger alliance for her couple. So, straight up naming the alliances is the reason for making the decision. And I think we will be going into week 3 of Love Island games. And I think it is going to be extremely game heavy, which is so fun.
I thought this was an interesting decision to at least name it so openly. Like, I'm
Mhm.
playing strategically. I'm making an alliance. My partner's in an alliance with Tyreek. I'm saving Tyreek because he's in an alliance with my partner. I am saving this strategically. We're all against you in the house. We're working together. Like, okay, Sydney, we get it. Like, it was so many times. And I actually think it's a pretty good decision for her. I'm not mad at it. I don't really know who Tyreek is going to couple up with after this. So,
Mhm.
what couple's really going to keep them safe? But I, it's so like Tyreek for it just to work out one more time where he ends up safe from the
He's a menace.
vote. He is a
And
menace.
he will continue to be menacing. And I think even if he had been eligible for the vote, he wouldn't be going home anyway. I think Marvin is
Yeah.
very likely to go home.
Well, let's talk about that. Of the people eligible to be going home in Marvin, in Josh, in Isaiah, and Kendall, how did you vote and who's going home?
I voted for Isaiah,
Okay.
not because he is my favorite,
Mhm.
But because I feel like he is kind of integral to a lot of plot lines and
Fair.
alliance lines right now. And Kendall pissed me off, so I didn't want to vote for him tonight.
Okay, good strategy. I unfortunately did vote for Kendall, and I really I was thinking, like, who can I vote for? While this is all happening, I was like, I'm mad at Kendall. Am I gonna save Tyreek? No, I'm mad at Tyreek. Okay, am I gonna vote for? Oh, I don't really care about anyone else. So I was like, I don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do. I was hoping I could just save two of the women because I felt myself very torn over there.
Yes.
But ultimately, I did save Kendall. I've enjoyed him more than some of the other options in the past. I think Isaiah, totally valid. However, you chose to vote on the men's side, but the women's side of Andrea, Andrina, Garby, and Justine was a tougher decision for me.
This was extremely difficult. I too really wanted to vote for both Garby and Justine. I ultimately decided to vote for Garby because Justine has shown she has historic evidence of being successful in votes from America. So I believe that she will get the votes she needs. Garby being the only non USA person up for the vote, I felt maybe needed the support a little bit more.
Mm, totally valid. I really considered it, and I really was so torn. I love Garby. I love Justine, and ultimately, I decided, as you said, America has come through from Justine before. I guess I need to continue doing that because I would be more upset if Justine goes here at like, okay, Tyreek gets what he wants, and it's the betrayal, and she goes home like at his hands is how he's going to like frame this, and I can't let that happen right now. I need her to get one more chance, and you know, outside of that fact, she's done the show a bunch, so I will live any which way, but I don't want to see Tyreek get what he wants here.
I think that's super fair and a good decision making process. I would like I don't think Andrea will go home. She's had like
I
I
don't
feel a pretty
know.
positive edit on the show so far. I think Andreina is going home on
I
Sunday.
think that's what I would guess. Um, I I think that Garby got a really sympathetic edit that I think will resonate with people, and I think Justine very similarly. So while they are not OGs, or no, they are OGs. Well, I feel like there was an assumption that like Andrina and Andrea were very popular coming in because they were U.S. contestants, OGs on the season, and so like the combination of those two assumed. But I think Garby's been for me more of a positive like
Mhm.
character on the show, and Justine has like the legacy, but are the new school fans of Justine? I don't know. So I think I'm
It's
leaning
the you're not a
Andrea.
fan of Justine, I'm not a fan of you. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah,
That's
but I'm still
crazy.
I don't know. I don't
These
know.
new
I'm
school
scared.
Love
I'm not
Island
gonna lie, I'm very
fans.
scared.
Oh my god.
It could go any of the four directions, and I won't be absolutely floored.
Oh my god. Well, I didn't even accept that it was a possibility that Justine could go home.
I feel like any of the four could, in theory. We talked about how
I
many
just
people
think
started watching Love Island with season 6 and how many people started with season 7.
yeah, but
That's a lot
like
of people.
who stands Andreina?
There's a person.
Yeah, that's not enough people to be
Hmm.
safe, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that and especially with like the last thing we're seeing about her being like, yeah, I don't share about my life and that's my fault
Yeah.
and I will do it to you too. Like I feel pretty like that it's a strong possibility.
Yeah. I need the people that were voting for Love Island on their smart fridges to come through here. Like, put in the vote for Justine and Garby. I'm hoping that we're all good and we come back and I'm not just throwing a tantrum the next time we talk. But regardless, as we've said, season's been great. I can't complain too much. I just hope my girls make it through.
We need our girls. So important. But yeah, that's it for episodes 9 and 10 of Love Island Games season 2.
That is it. Now, Kirsten, if people are looking for more from you beyond Love Island games, where can they find you?
Yes, so you can hear me on the Diary Room podcast. I was on the most recent episode talking about, the best Big Brother player of all time bracket that Matt Ligorian and Mon Adwin are doing. It was super fun. Definitely check that out. I also was on Nothing But Netflix this week talking about Love Con Revenge with Chappelle, which was really, really fun. And you can listen to Mess Magnets, where myself and Sasha Joseph break down pop culture, celebrity gossip, trending topics. That will be dropping over the weekend, and would really appreciate checking that out. And you can follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What, including twitch.tv/Kirsten Said What. Scally, what about you?
Ooh, people can find myself and Matt Ligori over on the Free Agents podcast talking about the challenge and the Big Brother edition of The Amazing Race that just premiered this week. So go check that out over on the Free Agents. Otherwise, at Brian_Scally on Twitter, Brian Scally on Blue Sky, twitch.tv/BScally on Twitch, and looking for 5-star reviews. You'll find me there. So otherwise,
Yes,
next time.
find us in the 5-star reviews on your podcatcher of choice. If you have already given us a 5-star review, you could use a parent's phone, you could use a
Ooh.
partner's phone, you could use
Ooh.
what if you have kids? Do your kids have a smartphone? You could rate us on their phone as well.
Why not?
Does your doctor's office have an iPad to check you in? It's been done before. You can use any of those devices to give us another rating, or you can tell a friend to check out this podcast, and that is also super helpful. Again, check us out, youtube.com/@RHAP, in order to see our lovely faces and comment on what we are talking about. But we will be back after the Tuesday night episode of Love Island Games, which I guess will be after episode 14, I think, because of After Sun. Math is hard, but we will see you then. Thanks for listening. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.